Hey everybody, it's Lil Frex, and you're listening to the Cabbages Hip Hop Podcast. We're talking movies and a bunch of other shit. Enjoy. Love you.
Gary.
Yes, Jeff.
Are you Gary?
Yes, that is who I am.
Well, it was meant as it's a Korn song,
I'm familiar.
and the actual lyrics are "Are you ready?" But I put your name in there because I thought it'd be funny. Now,
You know,
other
this is
than
rapper
being
movie
other
season, right?
than he's essentially a rapper.
Mm,
Jonathan Davis, come on, that's not singing. You killing the joke and being kind of a jerk aside. Do you know what today is?
yes. We're
Yeah,
recording
what
a
day is it?
podcast. Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Frex Day.
Oh,
It's Frex Day. It's Lil Frex
Yeah.
Day. Are you excited? Are you as excited as I am about the Lil Frex?
Our Frex Manning Day.
Frex Manning Day.
Frex Manning Day.
It's absolutely Frex Manning Day. And let me tell you something else. I am pumped. I took a shower.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I washed my hair.
Wow.
I stared out into the horrid orange abyss for a long time. And then I realized it's Frex Manning Day.
Frex Manning Day.
I don't know that the listening audience is going to understand how geeked out we are for this jam.
So geeked out that we're making Empire Records jokes.
We're weed free. We're doing the damn thing. We're coming into this thing fresh faced and ready for battle because we are going to host one of our favorite humans on the internet and on the planet. I'm very excited.
You know, I am thrilled. I am legitimately thrilled. And, I say that about a lot of our guests and my excitement, and that's definitely true. You know, a lot of times you're booking the show, getting guests. I'm always really excited to have these folks and have these conversations. But like, there's sometimes there are people who you put together like a little wish list. And you're like, I would love to get this person on the show.
Day one.
Low Frex was early on that wish list of people. And it was like, we kind of know some people who know her.
Right.
Maybe we could call in a favor. But I didn't feel like we were ready because, again, like with so many of these guests, and I hope you guys start to understand that, like, we want to find the right movie for these people. We want to find
thing. Gary, can I interject? It's got to be just right.
Well put. And it was just right.
I just have one question, and it's one that's gnawed at my soul ever since we booked this thing.
Okay.
She gonna like us? I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
Never meet your heroes.
We're not the most likable people.
No.
So
no.
We shall see.
Ladies and gentlemen, just right.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just right. We'll be right back. I cannot believe that I'm about to introduce our guest for today's show. Joining us now is Lil Frex, actress, rapper, comedian, social media dynamo, waitress. Her resume is stacked. You may have seen her on Amazon's A League of Their Own or MTV's Wild 'N Out. Either way, her hilarious new podcast, That's What I Heard, is available right now everywhere and anywhere that you get your podcasts. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Such an honor to be here. That was a very good intro.
Gary's really good at intros.
That was smooth as hell.
He's really, really good at them.
Yeah, I appreciate the compliment. I'm just trying to level up in all this intro writing game.
You're going into the broadcast game. Well, you're already in the broadcast game, yeah.
I suppose so. So we needed to do this kind of movie, but we are not treating this as the Queen Latifah episode because she has such a vast canon. Instead, We're calling this the Common episode. It doesn't stop us from talking in detail about Queen Latifah's role in this, but we definitely do need to discuss Common and the caliber of his acting in this film specifically as we go through. But I just wanted to get a sense, as an artist, as a rapper, how much familiarity did you have with Queen Latifah and Common as actors?
You know, it's two people that like they are such big stars and so well respected that I understand their weight, but they're not people that I've ever like really listened to in depth. Like I know some of the hits, but I have respect for them.
Were there any particular films or movies that you'd seen them in, or TV shows that you'd seen them in that had stuck out for you prior to watching this one?
I couldn't name a single one. I went into this like a baby with fresh eyes. I had no preconceived ideas or notions. I just said, I'm just going to watch this movie. And I fucking loved it.
I love that. I love to hear it. My notions in both cases were preconceived.
Okay.
From other movies, from deep dives of the catalog. We don't like to talk about rap on the podcast. So one of these rappers I like, and one of them I do not like at all. And one of these people I thought did a great job in the movie. One of them I think did not do great at all. Okay. But I also love the film. I had a blast with this one.
I thought it was so fun to watch. So I actually watched it with my mom and my stepdad.
Oh, right.
And my mom turns to me and she goes, I love that movie.
It is a mom movie. It's totally a mom movie.
And I go, I got to be honest, I kind of did too. It was really enjoyable.
Although the mom in this, I mean, Felicia Rashad is a great mom and is very supportive and etc. But Queen Latifah's mom, not as supportive, not as nice.
Now I'm blanking. What was her deal? I can't remember.
So Pam Grier.
Yeah. Pam Grier
That's right.
Gave the earrings to the prettier girl.
Right.
Because she was like, you're probably not going to try anyway. So why do you need cool stuff?
Right.
And that was a tough L for Latifah.
Yeah,
to take.
Latifah was being mistreated. She was being mistreated throughout. Mm-hmm. She was being mistreated to the point where we kind of overlooked the fact that she did fuck her friend's ex, which is kind of not cool.
Right.
But we were still on her side and we didn't even think about the fact that she might be the one in the wrong.
I didn't blink an eye at it. I thought I was like,
neither did I. And then when I was in retrospect, I was thinking that's kind of fucked up. She fucked her friend's man.
I think this movie is a touch progressive in its dealing with the fact that the friend that lost was just like, sounds good to me.
Yeah,
I think this is actually a really good idea. And when like, to be honest with you, it should have happened earlier.
Yeah, like you should go get her. You should go get her. My favorite part is when he just like he just walks off the set at the end.
Yeah.
Like takes the microphone off and walks off the set to get his girl. That was ridiculous. There are some things that were ridiculous, like the sound of the bouncing, the sound of the basketballs.
Why did they sound
of the basketballs? So bad. Yeah. It was so distracting.
Agreed.
That was probably the worst part of the movie for me, was just the production value of the basketball scenes and the sound of the basketball.
Excellent.
The most distracting thing to me was the way they shot Common playing basketball, knowing that he's on the court with people who are anywhere between 4 to 10 inches taller than him.
He's a
not to mention the fact actual like Hall of Fame basketball players.
Yeah.
Like on the same court as you and allowing you to like get off your little 8 to 10 foot fadeaway.
Yeah. I think
which is really nice of them, but
yeah, I think if this was shot today, so this was like 13 years ago they made this. It's just it looked like 2010.
Oh, yeah.
They would have done better if they did it today. And you know what's funny? So I was watching the credits and I was like, oh, I know half the PAs who worked on this movie. In fact, my friend Self Williams, who's like the person I made my first ever rap song with, was one of the PAs on this movie.
Really? Okay.
Yes. It was a New York movie.
This is our like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon moment of this.
It really is. Yeah, it was truly full circle. We should have him on. We should have him on this podcast.
I knew someone that worked on the film before. I don't think we have.
I don't know why. Actually, I should have had him zoom into this podcast too. He could have given us all the background.
I know. We might have to do a bonus episode.
We should do a Patreon. We'll do it. I'll ask him. He'll do it.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Would love that.
One thing I did leave out of your bio in your intro, and now I feel bad. I feel like I've let people down. Is like your work as a PA. Obviously, you have that also in there. You know, you've worked on all these sets. Yeah, like you have all these different connections to these things. Having been someone who has worked in film and has worked on TV, so you're in front of and behind the camera now. Is it strange watching a movie like this? Do you see things that maybe we're not seeing or that the average viewer doesn't necessarily see?
Yeah, when I see two people walking down a city street, I could cry because I think of the pain of the PA standing around the corner that we can't see in the shot, begging tourists to just wait 1 minute. If you don't mind, we're filming something, just please. Or begging tourists and God forbid, begging people who live in the neighborhood who are like, this is my fucking block. This is my fucking house. And I'm not going to wait a minute. I just think of the PA around every corner. It makes my palms get sweaty.
I had a direct confrontation with a PA at some juncture because I was moving into an apartment.
Ooh, not
and
good.
As I was moving in, they're like setting things up. And as I'm walking through, this woman is like, goes to talk. And I'm like, it's going to be an all day thing.
Yeah.
I'm moving all day. So you need to figure out a system.
And
because I'm not stopping. At some point, we kind of became friends. And she was like, oh, it's a Ben Stiller movie. And I was like, so we're not exactly crushing the Oscars here if I walk through the shot. Get out of the way. I'm like moving heavy shit.
You probably could have got $100 at a locations for that. Did they ever send locations over to talk to you, like anyone else, to like bargain with you?
No, they just dealt with like she was a pro and she just dealt with it. She's like, we'll figure this out.
Okay.
And for the most part, it was great. But every now and again, I'd be like, I'm not putting this down and then picking it back up.
Well, you sound like a pleasure to run into.
I'm a real fun guy.
You sound like my nightmare.
Exactly.
Should have been like, locations go to 2. I don't know. Can you come talk to this guy? I can't deal with him. He's not being
Why didn't that happen? I would have loved to talk to locations.
Yeah, like when locations comes over, then they start greasing palms. They have a budget. They have a budget.
I'm not meant to have a greasy palm in this life. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's okay. That means you're not like unreasonable.
You can be bought.
Oh, absolutely. I wish someone would try. Please try to buy me. I am for sale.
I mean, they would have offered you $100 to not move, and that wouldn't have been worth it.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't have taken it.
Wouldn't have taken it. So they couldn't really, but they could have.
The price wouldn't have been that much higher, to be honest with you. If it wasn't my friend's car, I would have done it. I don't know, maybe $500.
Yeah, you're not getting 500. You could just walk in the shot.
Now
we have now we just have free background, but you ain't getting 500. But if you had let's say a lawnmower, we could talk 500.
Okay.
500 could be on the table if you were mowing your lawn.
Quick scam for our listeners. If you see people shooting a film,
people do it.
You have access to a lawnmower, this is $500 the easy.
Let it rip.
No,
I can't guarantee 500, but I'm going to say that they really would need you to not be making that sound so that they could shoot. Whereas you moving in the background, okay, so there's a guy moving in the background.
Yeah, it's New York City.
What are you
I brought that up a couple of like,
exactly.
Look, it's Brooklyn,
New York City,
Greenpoint in the middle of the night. Like there's gonna be people around.
Right, but if you have messed up audio, then they actually can't shoot. So then we're getting into real. There is a budget to handle these things. So
that is good to know.
500 might be high. I'm just saying you could get more than 100 probably.
Next time I'm just going to be like, no, send locations. I'm not dealing with you. I'm going to be the one that just immediately shuts it down.
Send locations.
What spot is it? What are we at? 5 locations to 5. Where's the radio?
Give him the radio.
You've just put a dangerous toy in this boy's hand. I guess that may explain why so much of this movie is filmed indoors.
It is. Oh, you know what I had a problem with? I had a problem with him living on the Upper East Side. That didn't make sense to me. No, I don't think ballers from the Nets are living on the Upper East Side.
It made a sense that he'd been playing with them for 10 years and only with them. Is how he puts it out there.
Right.
So I don't know how many contract renewals we're talking about at that stage, but obviously he's at a critical, pivotal point when this movie starts in terms of the beginning of the season of what he's expected to be negotiating for. But it just seems to me that the kind of place that he's living in doesn't make sense for that situation. It also doesn't make sense that he would spend any time driving his own car throughout any of this.
Wait, but that is where he was supposed to be. Like his townhouse was supposed to be Upper East Side, right?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. I don't think like that's not it's like he'd be living in like Tribeca. Right,
he'd be living in some kind of luxury building in one of these buildings.
Of course,
just the high rises, like.
But Upper East Side,
the concierge.
It's too stuffy. I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that for him,
especially single.
Yeah,
I worked at a bookstore here in New York City, and Peyton Manning came in and make a big purchase of books that they would never read, but made them look smart. And I'm sorry, it's Eli Manning. So Eli Manning buys all these things. And when I asked, we're just like staying around for a lot of it. And I was like, so where are these going? He was like, oh, they're going to like Jersey near the practice facility because I just bought an apartment there so that I don't have to like back and forth. And that's probably what would be happening. So it's not crazy to think the parties would happen to the apartment. It's just crazy to think he would live UES just to get to New York about this.
Yeah, no, like a single ball player is not. Who wants to live on the Upper East Side?
Yeah, there's no
It's not
appeal
happening.
there.
No.
Not happening.
The question that I asked myself on both watches of this movie is, where the hell does Queen Latifah live in this movie?
Jersey.
She's in Jersey.
She's in Jersey. It took me a while to figure that out too. Yeah.
Now go with me for a minute, because this is where it gets confusing. And this is where, if you are from this area as I am, you start to get the shakes, because the meet cute that happens in this film takes place at a gas station.
Right.
And anybody who knows these things knows that you can't pump your own gas in New Jersey.
Right. That's true. Wow.
The moment on screen where they end up at this gas station, they're getting out to pump their own gas. I'm going, nobody goes from East Rutherford, New Jersey, the Izod Center, Meadowlands, to Manhattan to go back to Newark or wherever in Jersey lives.
Maybe she's
the prices are never better. So already that was the first thing where it broke my ability to appreciate this movie, because I said there's no logical way these people are, anyone's in Jersey, and him being in Manhattan makes it more confusing. So are they in Manhattan? Are they in New Jersey? In that moment, nothing makes sense to me. Everything feels wrong.
That's so interesting. I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either.
Oh, I fixed
that.
That
makes a lot of sense.
That would be when the Nets played in New Jersey as well.
Because it's like
these were the New Jersey Nets.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like they played in New Jersey. So he was driving from New Jersey back to Manhattan, and she was driving from the arena to her house in Jersey.
Yeah.
And
never the twain
so then
should
you
meet.
go, okay, so why did they pick gas station?
Like, what was the purpose of gas station as the place where? Because it actually doesn't mean very much. They could have met
I think because it's an Easter egg for the car, because the car becomes.
It's a good introduction, hard introduction to like what other people see as with cars.
But it could have been like them getting into a fender bender.
Sure, they could have been a fender bender. They could have been. We could have done like just a convenience store. It could have been a
Wawa.
Yeah, a Wawa is totally a valid thing.
Right.
But that was the first thing that really broke me in this film, was just like,
Smart.
I could not get my mind about it. And they never say where she lives in Jersey. We've watched it twice.
It's somewhere very cute though. It's like a cute little residential.
Yeah.
Sweet little houses. Because at first I was just assuming it was New York. I'm like, oh, this isn't even New York.
No.
This is like residential Jersey. Very cute. Grey's Anatomy dad.
You've got Grey's Anatomy dad. You've got Pam Grier for the mom. And I also was trying to figure out, like, they don't live in that house. It's her house that she bought that her dad from Grey's Anatomy.
But he's always there
painting. Fix up.
And you have to love that.
But why is the mom there?
Right.
She's
and then
helping out.
And so then the friend, the friend who's dating a baller lives in the house.
Yeah, the god sister.
So then she moves out to go live with the baller.
Mm-hmm.
They break up. She comes back to the house.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
Queen Latifah's too nice. That's the thing. Queen Latifah allows herself in this to be trampled a few times when she could have spoken up and been like,
yeah, because she's Mr. Steal Your Man. She's like, go ahead, move back to the house. I'm going to fuck your man.
See, this read on it, I think, is what's really important, is we've been gaslit by this film into thinking that this is like a heroic tale of Queen Latifah who has been unlucky in love.
No, it's Mr. Steal Your Man.
That's what this is.
This is like the LaRusso flip from a few years back that like created Cobra Kai, where you're just like, yeah, actually, what the fuck? Why did you do that shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you allow this person to move back in when you clearly had designs
on fucking her man?
Yeah.
Also, I like that she like ran off the white girl to bring in Queen Latifah as a trainer.
Oh, the real life trainer?
Oh, right.
And she fucked up.
Yeah.
She finessed herself.
Funny?
She thought too hard about the issue.
Isn't that funny? So despite all the flaws that we've just brought up, I love this movie.
Okay.
I mean, I would watch it again.
Please.
Like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The first thing we turned on, I was visiting my family, and the first thing we turned on was like some Nazi undercover spy movie.
Oh, wow.
After 10 minutes, I go, I really can't watch this. This is so boring. And then I go, but there is a movie I have to watch. It's called Just Right. Just type it in. Just Google it. or whatever.
Mhm.
And we watched it, and what a difference it was. What a 180 from the Nazi movie we've been watching. And
Not a lot of political
surprise.
intrigue in this one.
What a
Very few
pleasant
Nazis.
surprise.
Very few Nazis.
Almost
in this
none,
one.
some would say. Some would say almost none.
Almost.
You've
none.
got a sports crowd in the background a lot, so
Sure.
I love sports, but there's a whole lot of Nazis watching.
I think some of those Orlando Magic fans from the beginning might be. We're talking Florida here.
Florida,
I think we know
baby.
what's going on with Florida. Oh, they happen to be up in New Jersey from Florida. Yeah, we know what's going on. Makes a lot of sense. They live in certain neighborhoods. One of my gripes, because I didn't love this film, and I am very new. I'm relatively new to the romantic comedy world. It's a genre that I know very little about, but we've watched a few recently on the show, and so I'm sort of like, I have this sort of developing brain about it. But one of the things that I have learned is that they really don't depict sex in these movies at all.
No.
And after all the buildup of
this is
Tom
for
and Queen Latifah,
lifetime moms at worst.
Yeah.
It's PG.
I was horrified when it's like, there's this whole film is about trying to show Queen Latifah is not just the friend.
Mhm.
She's not just the friend. She is somebody who you can have a relationship with, a romantic relationship with.
Oh, John,
and it's
old
like,
school Disney films are hotter than this. We'll get
Wait,
you
but they
hotter than
had
this
but they
film.
had sexual innuendos, like they were in the sheets.
Yeah, they
had that scene.
They had to make sure we understood that sex was
That they had sex.
that it
right.
happened, but it's
But
like,
it's
it was
PG.
the
This is for
least-
6-year-olds.
yeah.
This movie was for 6-year-olds.
Exactly.
It's actually weird that we watched it. This is a children's movie.
honestly,
That's happened to us
This
a
is-
number of
it's
times on the
PG.
show. At
It's
this
like
point, I
it's-
think it's on purpose.
It's literally supposed to be like you can take your kids with or without you.
yeah.
So why did we watch this movie?
This is weird because this is weird now because we've talked about this Jeff. This now falls into a category of a kind
Yeah,
of film that
it
we watch where
does.
it's like, what is this movie?
What? Who is
in
this
that-
for?
Is this we're talking about Old Dogs, Ann, aren't we? Basically, we're talking about
It was the difference, of course, being that one of them takes love seriously and the other takes love as a gas, a hilarious
yeah.
foible.
this,
so, like,
this movie is
movie
on.
really wanted to ratchet up the pain of the lonely.
What you have to understand is that we are now analyzing a film that is essentially Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
This is a PG sports film.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. This happens to us a lot on this show. I'll be honest.
It does.
We
I love this
overanalyze pure garbage. So
Rom-coms-
this being a movie like actual garbage, we go like, oh, let's
No,
examine
totally.
this closely.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
has the same rating as the film Air Bud.
Well, this is from the writer of Like Mike, so I shouldn't
Oh.
be too surprised.
I actually never
Another
watched
basketball movie.
like Mike. Have you guys done that one?
We haven't
No.
done it, but I saw it at a drive-in theater.
Was it good? I
I-
never watched it.
It was okay for as these things
For the
go.
time. Yeah.
For the time, I think we were talking about 2002.
I used to be such a little Bow Wow head.
Yeah,
Mm.
But now I don't know if I could name one of his songs now, but I know that I used to love him.
it's probably best not to dwell too much on it.
Was one of them self-titled?
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe-
know.
maybe
Now,
that's what it
as
was.
soon as we're done, I'm going to put on some Bow Wow.
Bow Wow playlist.
Chad Moss. Well, Latifah
Ken-
became a real actress. Maybe she already was at the time, but doesn't she have a show that
She
films
was.
in New York now?
Yeah, she's Equalizer.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always filming her now.
She was already an actress. Like she'd already been doing movies for like 20 years when this thing came out.
You'd maybe
Like
say
she-
she's more of an actress than a musician, right?
By this point, I think you can fairly say that her
Oh, most
career in
definitely.
music.
Oh,
But if
yeah.
you put the
Career-
whole career into perspective, I would say probably, right?
Yeah, because if you basically say like her career in film starts in like 91, she does like Jungle Fever and she does House Party 2. She's in both of those films. And
Mhm.
then she does Juice in 92. She does some TV stuff. She ends up getting Living Single, which she does for like 5 years. That's a big thing. All the while she's still doing films
I
like-
watched the hell out of that show.
She does Set It Off. She does Hoodlum.
It was better than Friends.
She does Sphere. And then she goes back after Living Single in the 2000s. She does a lot more movies. Brown Sugar, Chicago,
Right.
Bringing Down the House, Barbershop 2, Beauty Shop, Last Holiday,
Huge.
Hairspray.
Yeah, so she's an actress.
She has an
She's
ice
an
age.
actress.
She's an
Yeah.
actress. By the time she does this movie, she's already an actress.
She's a huge star. Yeah, I wonder what the
Huge
salary
star.
was. I'm gonna say $1 million, $2 million, $3 million.
I'm saying that
That
that's
would be
accurate.
awesome
Yeah.
and worth every penny.
The budget of the film is 12. It's like 12 million, and there's not a lot of actual people acting in the film.
The budget of
Correct.
the film is $12 million.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Shot.
That feels low.
It does, right?
It feels low for like a genre movie where you have to shoot basketball. Maybe that's why the basketball looks kind of cheap.
Yeah.
It was cheap basketball.
That makes sense.
And if you notice, both of the basketball scenes are against the Orlando Magic.
Right. So that's
Or at
because they
least
have
two
to
of the
pay
basketball
for those
teams.
trademarks, right? So that's
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
a cheaper trademark.
So
And there's a guarantee for all of those announcers to come in and do lots of announcing work too.
right.
The sports world has a pretty good grip on how to pay people if they cross over into movies.
Yeah, that's money. I don't know. Yeah, so I guess they probably just paid. I thought it was a good cast. The cast probably got all the money.
yeah,
I love the little pimp my ride thing.
sure.
That probably cost 20,000 to pimp that ride. Who knows?
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
At the same time, Common, far less experienced an actor at this stage in his career. He had
Right.
never done a comedy or a rom-com. He had never done a comedy at that
well,
point.
yeah, I mean, you could tell.
You know, nobody thought he would be. So like, it's an odd choice for sort of the romantic lead in a film like this. He'd done like Smoking Aces and like a Terminator movie nobody saw, and he was an American Gangster, and he did a couple of these things, but they were all like action drama,
Right.
but not like nothing like overly serious per se,
And no lead, he wasn't the lead,
and
in
nothing that he
those
was the
either.
lead in, nothing that he was
Right.
ever the lead in.
Here's what I don't understand about Common in this film. If you listen to Common records, he knows what vocal inflection is. He knows
Right.
that you can sound different ways if you use different voices. He uses the same voice the entire time. Horrible news, this is horrible. Great news, this is great. His mom walks in, that is my mom.
You know,
I love
Mom.
my mother.
he
Like,
might
why was he
be-
reading a poem the whole
He
time?
might be making a choice of trying to play kind of like a dumb athlete.
Okay.
If we're gonna give him like grace on this,
Are
we're
we?
gonna say,
Okay,
let's.
fair enough.
Why not?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
two sweethearts.
He's cool.
So yeah, so we maybe he's like, okay, this is a different acting role. We got to keep it light. I'm playing this athlete. He's a really nice guy. He's not like the most cerebral guy. He's not a genius. He's a physical being. So maybe that's just his choice on how that type of person would act, like a star athlete.
At the same time, they also try to make him seem have a little bit more depth than your average athlete by making him a fan of jazz, by making him a jazz bow, essentially.
Oh, they went out of their way to mention that he had a Joni Mitchell CD on his in his car, which is like cool.
Yeah, but that's not. I'm talking. You know, he's not like a Harvard professor.
No.
And so I think that's how Common thinks that the athletes would act. Maybe he knows some of the athletes. Maybe they do kind of act like that.
Yeah,
where they're very like, hey, what's up? Well, that's okay. Whatever you want to do, girl. All
That's
right.
true too, because a lot of times we look at athletes and they're like, we take on camera to be real in more cases.
Right. But
than
then
an
if you
actor.
talk to them, they're just like,
They're probably just
monotone.
kicked back playing video games, not wanting to talk
Yeah.
to anybody. Yeah.
And
I hear
totally
you.
just monotone, like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? Yeah.
Yeah, you want a beer?
It's amazing. We got
We got wine there too,
man.
if you want wine.
Exactly. Maybe.
Maybe.
That, I guess that would be maybe what I would think happened.
There's a number of reasons it could have gone like it did, but that was an interesting choice because it kind of sucked the life out of a few scenes. I mean, maybe he's great, but like those scenes suffered, unfortunately.
Which ones?
Well, I mean, when he wanted to get married and then his mom walks up and he's like, I know what you're going to ask.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But-
Like it's and like Felicia is acting her ass off because she's made for this.
Felicia
Yeah.
Rashad doesn't have to say a word.
No.
The reaction shots during the
Yeah.
proposal, the faces she makes is like, this is why she was on television
Engaged.
and in
She didn't
movies.
say anything, but you knew. Engaged.
That's
There
a
were, like,
heavy hitter.
5
Yeah.
reaction shots, and each one of them is just like another face. I'm like, she has range. She's
Yeah.
showing it. This is brilliant.
That
Those-
line was just like,
I
you're a
loved her in
grown
it.
man. Grown men do whatever they want. And I was like,
Yes.
Mom's
Thanks,
mad
Mom.
though. Mom's mad
Mom
though.
is
You can tell
mad.
mom is mad.
I like when she goes about like Latifah, she goes, I like her.
Yep.
That's
That was a
that's
great-
the most mom
She's
shit
a-
ever. Like,
I like her.
I like
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
They're always wrong, or at least they have been. I don't know, it's for me.
No.
But like, she was into it.
I watched this movie with my wife, and eventually we're just basically predicting what's going to happen next in the film. And one of the things I said was like, before when, so Queen Latifah is going to be the one doing the physical therapy. We know this now. And like, I'm like, the mom is going to like her from the jump.
No,
Like
from
that's
right
going to
off
happen.
the
Like
bat.
I'm like,
Of
that's going to
course.
happen. There's no way. It's the opposite of the reaction of Paula Patton.
This is
Like,
a
gonna like from the
wild
jump.
this is a wildly used trope in rom-coms.
Mm.
Parental or friend approval
Yeah.
of the person that's supposed to win. That's how you know they're going to win.
And I should point out that in a previous episode where we discussed another rom-com, Jeff made clear that he is a big fan of rom-coms. He is
I love watching
by
rom-coms.
far
Yeah.
more experienced with the genre than I am.
Like some people
altogether.
have science fiction, I have rom-coms. I just like watch
Right.
the hell out of it. I think they're incredible.
I almost wouldn't even call this like a com.
Hmm.
Mm. Well, there were no jokes.
It was just a sweet movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was just like really easy to digest, easy to watch.
Hallmark Channel bait. It was
Yeah.
good.
But there,
Yeah.
I don't know if I laughed. I can't remember if I laughed or not. I don't know
No,
if I did.
Usually in comedies, in addition to there being jokes, there's also like there's the moments of comic relief in films like this. Like even if you're telling a sweet story,
Yeah.
and where they usually can shoehorn it into even into a bad movie is when you introduce the lead character's friends, and there's this parade of people who show
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
for one scene only a piece
Yeah.
as her friends or coworker pals. You see them one time, and then they never show up again in the rest of the film. They have no bearing on it.
We get a couple of reactions to her ending up on television,
Sure.
right?
Right.
Like when, or not her
Oh,
ending
yeah,
up,
the
but
girls
him
at the
talking
hospital
about
were
it.
like, "Oh, there she
But
is."
that's
Yeah.
it. Like there's a number of other people we get zero reaction out of.
Right.
Like we don't get
This-
any of his friends. We're like,
No.
oh shit, what's wrong with our friend who just like stormed off of the set of this ESPN show and ran off into the
That was the
night?
funny. That was the most comedic part to me when he just goes, "I'm sorry, I have to go." Takes off the mic and walks off the set before he does
Phenomenal.
the interview. Genius.
And he doesn't even know
I
where
would
he's
say
going at
no
that
com.
point.
I would say no com.
No,
It's
Con,
just
yeah,
And
you're
rom.
right.
and no rom as well.
It's just
Mm.
romance.
So I actually don't call this a rom com.
So
it's more
this-
of
There was
just
no
a-
romance. I mean,
No
there was no
romance.
sexuality, but there
No.
was
no kiss. I mean, the
sweetness.
kissing
There
was like
was there kissing? Oh yeah, there was a little kissing.
very brief.
a love movie. This movie was very indebted to the idea of love.
I think without the rom and without the com, you know what we have? A
We have-
children's movie.
Mm,
You keep coming back to this. You have presented two different
Mhm.
angles on this film.
No rom, no
That-
com. Kids film.
So it's either
It's a
a
children's
kid's film,
film.
it's either a children's movie, or it's secretly an evil story about
Right.
seeing your friend's man.
Which
Like,
is
that's what it
which is a big theme in middle school. It's like a middle school movie. I
So it's a
think.
tween movie then. Maybe
yeah.
that's
Now
what-
I'm saying it's a tween movie. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Correction.
I was
Tween
gonna
movie.
say I think it's in that like 11 to 14.
Yeah.
area,
This is like a
sure.
middle school Friday night. You
Yeah.
go with a group of friends to the movie theater. You say you're going alone, but you meet up with the boys and you like
Mm.
you maybe even watch half the movie and then go out back and smoke weed for the second half or something like that.
Mhm.
I bet this movie, half of this movie's gross from the theaters was from kids going to see it and then sneaking into
And then not
R-rated
going.
movies.
100%.
Wow.
I believe that.
Like half of the gross for this was that.
Because they could
Um,
get in at that age. That's a good point.
It's a clever ruse.
This is
I saw that
this
it made
is
like 21
secret.
mil.
Yeah, it made
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Not terrible off of a $12 million
No, it did
budget. When you
fine.
factor in marketing.
We've seen
and all
some
that
real
shit.
stinkers that made nothing. So I'm
Really?
always impressed when you can beat a budget of anything over $1 million.
We've seen films with bigger budgets do way less.
I
Way
think 12
less.
million seems like a really small budget to get
Yeah.
stars.
I think you're working with
And to
you're
shoot in New
working
York City?
Yeah, I think that's it's like I mean I don't know about the interiors of some of the other shots, but everything seems to be shot largely within this house. So I think I think it's a very economical structure to how this is
That's
put
true.
together. I mean, the only place when you really leave, other than the Izod Center, is when he makes the drive towards the end to Philly,
Right.
to the 76 to go see the 76ers. So
Oh,
really,
that
it's
was
not.
hilarious. Yeah.
Which again, like I have to go back to this because he walks off set, but he still doesn't know where she is.
Right.
It isn't until Paula Patton, who happens to be there, sitting off screen,
She's
says like, "Go to her," basically,
hysterical.
and
So
says
good.
like, "She's in
Actually,
Philly."
can I interject for just a second because he's like
Please.
on his way out the door and she's like, "Stop! I want you to know you have my approval." And he's like, "Great!
He's like,
I gotta
bitch, I
go."
don't care.
That's-
I
I don't
don't
care.
like you.
Like,
I'm out of
I'm-
here.
I've seen enough. Like, why are you even talking to me right now? I'm gonna go
Right.
fall in love with someone else." I thought that scene was incredible because her approval was just like, "I get it," and he was like, "Oh, good."
Right.
But that sets this up for a Wicked style reboot where we eventually see things from Paula Patton's perspective and find out we've been watching this film all wrong.
Mm.
Interesting.
Like her grace towards the end is this act of kindness that, even though she's the one who has been harmed the most in all this, she's
right,
as we've learned.
This is actually a film about pretty girl justice. Justice for the pretty girls. Okay.
So the justice here being that she does get the peace of mind that at any time she can step in and he'll be like, I'm so confused.
Right. She has the
to
power
do.
to confuse him, but not to keep him.
Right. That's exactly right.
But that's pretty powerful still.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about a basketball thing. Something that bothered me.
I'm really into basketball right now, so
I heard that on your podcast actually, and I was like, "Oh, good."
We also see your bets.
Bring this up.
We see your bets, and we're like, "Oh my god!" You have to understand. Like, I tailored this movie to you. I was like, "Oh no, this is going to be a basketball movie with rappers."
We were so pumped.
We got to get low Frex for this episode.
It was
and I ate it up. I would watch it again just for fun. Okay, so go ahead, basketball thing.
Okay, this team, the New Jersey Nets, has lost their all-star point guard. Pretty, not an insignificant time into the season, but like about halfway through the season. Now you've lost your best point guard. You're watching him practice. The team is watching him practice, and they're like, "Oh man, we got to have him back. We can't win without him," is the exact quote. Right? Smash cut, and the announcers are like, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. I wrote that down too. And I go, really?
You can't win you're 5 games away from winning a championship. I understand needing your all-star back, but like, someone can write better. I'm sorry. That was a wild oversight.
But if I'm in the writer's room, I'm going, we have to give it stakes. We have to give the film stakes.
It just means that nobody in there knows what the Eastern Conference Finals are.
Of course not.
And they're hoping that the people watching don't either. And they probably don't.
Yeah, they probably don't because they're 12.
Totally.
They don't know what's going on.
I hear it, but it's still really stuck in my craw.
It was really fun. Some of the basketball stuff was like kind of hilarious. Like the post-game interview, like no sweat.
He just put up like 21 in the fourth quarter. And the guy's like, it's the first game of the season, and Jalen Rose was like, "Hey, so you're going to re-sign with the Nets at the end of the season?"
Right.
No questions about like what were you seeing out there? None of that stuff. Just like,
because if it was a real interview, this is so. I've only been watching basketball a very short time, but this is what they all do. So they go, "So what'd you have to do to win that game?" And they go, "It was about we really had to focus on offense and defense as well. So communicate and just play hard, physicality."
Trust each other. That's another big one. This is a team that trusts each other, and that's why we.
It's like, what do you have to do? Sure. And they all say offense and defense as well.
It's a beautiful thing because when they're in concert, the two, you're pretty unbeatable.
That's the whole So offense and defense as well. I think that every morning I go, today I need to play offense and defense as well.
I have another basketball question, and then I'll drop the subject because the basketball really was the worst.
It was the worst part of it.
Did they win a championship? Did they win a championship?
How did it end? Because I remember being like,
because they just fast forward to the beginning of the next season and they're like, oh, by the way, everyone's fine.
Right. I don't even remember what happened.
They never addressed it. Do you think they won a championship?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they were happy with Eastern Conference Finals, and that's where they got. That's fine.
That seems pretty good to me.
When we write Just Right 2, Just Writer. I don't know how we'll do that.
Just wrong, bitch.
Just wrong. I think that we bring back the pretty girl and she just destroys the marriage.
Right again. Right.
And it affects him and he's got to overcome it to win a championship. Boom.
It's called Make It Right.
But without the Just Right 2 part, just make it right.
Yeah. Making it right.
I like it.
She comes back for her revenge.
It's going to be a bad film, but I'm into it.
We're going to have to write it because the screenwriter behind this movie did not write another movie.
I can't believe it.
Never? So this is the writer behind Carmen, a Hip Opera, Brown Sugar, and Like Mike. And
those are big things.
Big things. Yeah. All precede this by like 8 years.
And this was the nail in the coffin.
And then this comes out, and now since this film, he has founded Hammer and Nails, a grooming shop for guys, a national men's grooming franchise. Has departed from screenwriting altogether.
So this was it.
This was it.
Who else was on this creative team? Like, who was the director?
So the director is Sana Hamri, who was a music video director. Did a lot of stuff with Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj, Prince during the musicology era, Jadakiss, and Common. Did one of the most notable Common videos is the Come Close video from Electric Circus with Mary J. Blige.
Right.
Which I'm assuming is how he becomes considered in all this, is that they worked on this episode that I think I watched at like BET After Dark or something, or some other basic cable channel. I watched this video. And I think he had more range in that video than he had in this movie. But it was also, a highlight from the album song wise, an album that maybe didn't really get a lot of love. But so this is a director who her film prior to this was Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2.
Oh, that was a big movie.
So she had gotten the sequel. Yeah, she got the sequel. She got the sequel. Then she does this, and this was her last film in her last big screen picture. She went back into TV show directing,
movie
music
ended
videos.
People's careers.
Oh, it's a career ender for people.
Wait, but why was it so good then? It was so good.
It was so much better than it sounds. It really was. Yeah. Like, you may not like it or whatever. That's fine. It was
just goofy and like enjoyable.
We tell this story a lot on this show, that we tend to pick these movies where they tend to be the career enders. They're the career enders for a lot of people, or they become like
perennial. And we don't know it ahead of time.
No,
this isn't planned. It just keeps
the research
fucking
afterwards.
Wow. What was the other one? What were other ones?
Oh, so many. You name it.
It's almost every film.
Almost every movie. Like this season we did Be Kind, Rewind from Michel Gondry, who did like the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He does Be Kind, Rewind, and basically has to go back to France after this.
Wow.
And make movies
in
France.
But it was good.
And we enjoyed it. We enjoyed the movie. But we were in the minority, clearly. We tend to pick these films that people absolutely don't like. Like we did Ghosts of Mars, which again is a pretty bad film.
End of Carpenter's career.
The end of John Carpenter's career. Didn't make another movie for a decade. And then after that movie, he stopped altogether.
What would you say is the best, or like a few of the best movies with rappers? 8 Mile?
Well, we haven't done 8 Mile on the show yet. We're gonna approach that.
What are you mad? Because it's too on the nose.
You got to build. No, you got to build up to these things. People get excited. We're teasing Cool as Ice after like every episode. Okay. Like we're gonna do Cool as Ice, guys.
You have
to happen.
Listening.
You have to do the new White Man Can't Jump.
Oh yeah, it's on the docket.
It's coming.
Like you have to go live, watch it in the theater.
Oh,
and then review.
It's gonna happen.
Is it in the theaters? It went straight to TV. I thought it was a Hulu jam.
You're talking to people who went to go see House Party reboot on opening night. Like we will go to the theaters. To watch
we left Margaritaville.
Yes,
just for the record.
Times Square,
a little early to go to Times Square's
now.
AMC.
I know this isn't the point of the show, but how was Margaritaville? Because I was thinking about filming my show Marg Walks there, where we just walk in between the bars. Now, was it garbage?
It's one of the worst places I've ever been, but I also quit drinking, so what is the point of me being
right? That's literally there is no point.
No.
All of my friends have had all of their birthday parties there, so they're probably pumped. I think they
really, ironically, or like they really just love it.
I'm sorry, but I can't call Margaritaville an ironic thing. If you're choosing it, you're making this. This is it. You're just lame, and that's cool to be lame now. It's all good, but
it's to be square.
Let's not act like we can pass this one off as irony, kids.
Okay.
It's not irony. You're just in a lame spot, drinking beers with the folks.
My strong recommendation to you is to pick a different location of Margaritaville.
Okay.
Don't go to this one.
That's a good point.
Good point.
Go to a different one.
You gotta go to one in the south.
Yeah, you got to go down. You got to go down to Florida. You really got to go down.
It would be awesome.
I'm just saying, on location.
I
would love it.
The Puerto Rico airport, Margaritaville. I forget what they call it, but it's like a Margaritaville to go, basically. It's just sitting in the airport. It's really something. They have a ton of live TVs everywhere playing Buffett and Buffett like rock
I like that.
the whole time. And it's really loud. And then like the rest of the place just has to deal with it. It's the most Margaritaville there might be.
You might want to consider an airport.
I might.
You might.
You're not
It's
wrong.
worth it.
All right, sorry I detoured us into Margaritaville.
No, this is great.
So
Perfectly fine.
so what else? Okay, so what are the like? What would you say of the ones you've done was like the best one the best rapper movie?
You can get us to talk about How High all day. Like,
Right.
we can
I've
talk about
never seen
all
that.
day.
Isn't that crazy?
It's fantastic.
It's a
I love both of
wonderful
them.
film. It's a wonderful,
Okay.
and we liked How High too. We
Yeah,
liked
I watch How
too.
High too every 420.
Wow.
I would
This
say
season.
that the one we mentioned earlier is probably the best movie we watched.
You're gonna say
The
that
one
Over
I'm-
Cradle to the Grave? Over Cradle
Yeah,
to the Grave?
Over Cradle to the Grave, which I loved.
Wow.
I had a
Be
blast.
Kind
with
Rewind is your pick. Be Kind Rewind. All right.
that. Be Kind Rewind is the best one, and I think our guest was the most into the film too.
Okay.
Well,
More
you
than
know what I
I'm into
mean?
Just Right.
More than you were into Just Right. Yeah.
But I
were
couldn't
very
be more
little
into it.
criticism.
I'm gonna watch it again.
We watched
watch
it twice, and
again.
I'm down. Let me know
Yeah.
when we'll distance watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it at the same time.
I'm
Compare
gonna watch
notes.
it
Like,
for fun.
why is she doing this?
We're just doing it. Just extra. Just extra.
She's
Why are you
awesome.
doing this?
That is great. It made me feel happy.
It's a happy film.
Yeah.
And despite your and now our idea that she's a Miss Steal Your Man,
Mhm.
I'm glad she's stolen.
Yeah.
I was really happy for Queen Latifah's character.
I literally
Like-
loved her. Like I thought she was great in this film.
And now her dad will not have to fix that house anymore.
Yeah. Because Common can do it.
Dude's gonna just Scotty
Wait,
McKnight.
so now do you
he's gonna
think
take care of it.
now? So she just went through all this trouble. She bought this house. It was a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
moment. So now she's gonna move to the mansion, or he's gonna move to the house.
Oh, she's moving to the mansion.
Of course. So now the house is
Yeah.
irrelevant. So now we did all that for nothing.
I
We
think
did all
the
that rubber.
house. I think the house gets fixed up and sold, but during that, we get the goddaughter, the pretty girl revenge.
Who's the
woman.
god? Oh, the friend.
Paula
yeah.
Patton.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
Paula
yeah.
Patton,
Her-
yeah.
Yeah, the friend. Sorry.
Her, yeah, like her.
Oh, that's right, I
godsister.
She
forgot there's a
stays
god
there
thing.
during the
Okay.
renovations and then gets her shit together and gets a job, I guess, because now she's broke again.
Maybe she
Yeah.
could rent the house while she figures out what she wants to do with her life. I don't know.
Right.
That's the most powerful part of her moment of change, where she grabs Common as he's running away from her and goes, I understand why you're running away. That moment is double crazy because now she's going to go back to living on a futon in an upstairs part of an apartment that's getting worked on
Right.
without a job.
An apartment that the doorknob falls off every day.
Right. And the windows aren't secure.
Yeah.
Whew.
It takes a big heart to say, go to her. I'm
Go.
not even going to try and throw myself at you. Just go.
And all she had to do was be tolerant of Common's secret jazz dungeon. That's all she
Right.
had to do. And she could have had him.
That's a good point, Gary, is that was the real turning point. It wasn't
That's
leaving
where
him
he
in the middle of
switched.
his low point. It wasn't.
No.
Nope. She was still in the, she
Can
could
I
still
shut
be in
the,
the books
door? Can I shut
was
the door
coming
while you're
back.
playing jazz piano?
and saying, you can't play jazz piano, which to Common's credit, I don't know how much of it was him. Obviously none probably, but I don't know. He's a musician. He could probably play jazz standards.
Frex, were you disappointed about what was behind that door?
He wasn't
The
that
way
bad
that
as
they
own
presented
time.
it?
No, I didn't even. Okay, so you guys were saying jazz dungeon. I was like, oh, the piano playing. I didn't even equate
Yeah.
that with like a jazz thing.
Okay.
I was like, oh yeah, he's playing the piano and Latifah wants to hear it and the other girl doesn't. It's
Yeah.
clear to me. It's effective. It worked. Hey, these plot lines, they work on me. I get it. It's crystal clear.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
These are different.
I
girls.
just,
Would you listen to a Common and Queen jazz record?
Yeah, I guess I would.
yeah, Latifah would sing the shit out of that. She played Bessie for God's sakes. Like she
Right.
She a good singer?
absolutely. Yeah,
a good
she can
singer?
sing. She
Yeah,
can
she
sing.
can
She like
Yeah.
she was like Oscar nominated for Chicago. I think
Yeah.
I don't remember what she won her Grammy for, but like
Oh, I
she's
forgot about Chicago.
oh yeah, after this like up until this movie, she did all this stuff, including Chicago, and then after this movie, just kept doing stuff. Like she's
She's never stopped.
music stuff, movie stuff,
Wow.
but not like we're not rapping anymore. Like she'll still get on stage, like at a Rock the Bells thing, or obviously this is the 50th anniversary year for hip hop, and like that's a factor that goes into that she might get on stage. I know she was at the De La Soul event they did at Webster Hall when they put out all the albums finally on digital.
Like, I don't think she's like really a rapper at her heart.
I think it was probably her introduction in terms
Yeah, she's
of
an
the creativity.
entertainer, and there was
Yeah.
just
She
something
was,
to do.
but she was one of the most visible rappers in the world at a certain point.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which
Nothing
point
about
was that?
rap.
What year was that?
It's like 91, 92.
Yeah. See, I wasn't like really. I was an infant.
I'm like 10, 11 years old,
Right.
and I'm seeing this, and I'm going like,
Right.
this is who you saw on MTV. This is who you saw on these channels. So your understanding of hip hop for me starts with like the Fat Boys, and like works their ways to that, because who are you seeing on screen, and then you learn more over time.
Yeah, I think my youth was like I was really into Will Smith, Fresh Prince at the time.
I was into Will Smith. Yeah.
That I
Well,
was
like when he put out the Getting Jiggy with It album, but I missed the summertime. I was too late for summertime.
This is the
I was
generation gap.
early enough to fuck with like he's a DJ, I'm the rapper.
Right.
I
See,
think I
missed
like
that part,
ran that tape off its spools
Right.
because I was allowed to listen to something that wasn't like Bible camp songs.
Right.
It was like,
It's a
yo,
big
people
difference.
are awesome.
But it was really wholesome. Will and Jazzy
Mhm.
Jeff.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like he made the transition,
Right.
and he's known primarily now for acting
I know.
and for attacking Chris Rock.
I've been thinking about this a lot. Yeah, I know. We know what he's known for right now.
Right now.
I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, should I stop going by Frex? I need to, there's only two people that can understand. I need to contact Aquafina and I need to contact Donald Glover. And I need to speak with them about what led to them making their decisions about their music and their acting careers.
Sure.
I'm almost certain they listen to this pod.
Yeah, they
Your
do.
message is out there. We're
I know.
good now.
I'm manifesting.
And look, we will tag the shit out of them.
Done.
And Queen Latifah, who
Done.
continues to go by Queen Latifah.
Right.
She does, right? Yeah, she
After
does.
all these years. She does not go by her birth name.
My issue is, well, let me lay out my issue.
Yeah,
And
okay.
you guys can advise.
Okay.
So it's a Lil. I have a Lil Frex.
You do.
And at this point, I'm damn near 6 feet tall and closer to 40 years old than I've ever been. And I'm Lil Frex. So we'll start with that. Then I took all my music off of streaming. It's only on SoundCloud now. So I don't even know if a lot of people that just started following me even know that I started as a rapper.
Right.
So there's no context for me to be Lil Frex. Some people think my name is just Lil, like Lily.
Right. Oh, wow.
You go, hey, Lil. We're losing the plot. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No.
We've lost the plot.
We have lost the plot.
Wow.
When P. Diddy went through his second name change and smashed out the P.
Yeah.
He went on, I think it was something with CBS This Morning, the Today Show, one of the morning shows, made the announcement on air and said specifically that the P was getting in the way of his fans and his relationship.
Wow.
It was in between. If you believe that, that is an ironclad response to the issue.
Right.
The Lil
is
getting in the way of me and my fans.
Right.
I will point out that Diddy later, in more recent years, changed his name to Love.
Right.
So
he did.
So that does complicate things a bit.
He did. But we don't call him that. We don't respect it. No,
we stopped calling it.
Diddy.
Hey, you get 3.
The same way
you don't get 4.
Exactly.
Hey,
in the same way I put the hyphen in Jay-Z.
enough.
Jay-Z never fucking loses the hyphen in my mind. I don't care how many times. I'll still capitalize it.
I didn't know we didn't have one.
Is a hyphen. It never goes away.
At
some point, Diddy, we won't call him Puffy anymore, but you're not going after Diddy. It's like, no, you're Sean or you're Diddy. You're not.
But like in Shakespeare, the jesters often have the right idea, and Diddy, or I'm sorry, Love, as a performer and a jester, might actually have nailed that name change, because how do you argue with it? It probably did.
Yeah.
Right.
Get in the way.
Right.
Yeah.
If you feel it, it's not just a manifestation; it's real.
Right.
You know, this is your choice and your journey, but I will say that going back to one of your earlier musical loves, Lil Bow Wow, eventually went to Bow Wow,
right?
Before now,
and now he's Shad. So like, do I just become Emma?
Over time, I think that might be a path for you. Either way, we're excited to see where you go.
Common also still goes by Common when he's in things. So both of these people were just like, this is my name. This is my performing name.
And
forever.
Aquafina still does go by Aquafina.
Cher as well.
But
Madonna?
Donald Glover doesn't do Childish Gambino. He separates.
Does not. No.
So maybe Frex is it.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't want to tell you what to do with your career.
We'll see.
I don't know the rest of your fans, just Gary.
We'll see what happens.
So,
Gary
you
stuff.
know,
each other. It's a closed loop.
oh man.
You know, Jeff,
Yeah, Gary.
we had a really nice guest on. I'm really thrilled.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. It was like a very weird dream come true, making somebody
yeah,
of that import watch that movie.
but I think she was a little too kind to Common in this, if I'm being honest.
I think we all were.
I have to really make clear that the thing that really made me dislike this movie most, second only to the New Jersey
gas station,
which is just like
kerfuffle, the debacle.
took me out of the movie for like
Yeah.
the remaining hour and 20 minutes for sure. After that, I'm like, I'm sorry.
80 minutes of just like, where the
No.
fuck were you? Where were
Where
you? That
do you
wasn't
live?
Jersey.
Where do you fucking live? Couldn't tell you.
How could you
So-
do this to my family?
The second only to that was Common is just so one-dimensional as an actor in this film. And I started to go back and think as we were preparing for this episode, and I realized I don't think I've ever seen him in any film where I felt like his acting was remarkable. And I have, as it turns out, seen quite a few of his movies. I've seen Smokin' Aces. I've seen Street Kings.
Never.
I've seen Wanted. I've seen Terminator Salvation. I saw that in theaters.
I think I saw Terminator Salvation at some point. I know I did. I watched them all.
And probably most recently in John Wick 2. And I realized that in John Wick 2,
I hated that movie. Yes.
and I love
Yeah.
the John Wick movies. I haven't seen part 4 yet. Please, no spoilers. I haven't seen it
He
yet.
shoots
but in
people. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry. He shoots people with guns.
But in John Wick 2,
Now you don't have to see
Common
it.
is one of the main adversaries.
right.
And he's not particularly interesting. There's a vengeance aspect to his character. There's some purpose behind him, but he's also completely uninteresting.
We're not per se film critics, right?
No, I mean, we're not professionally. I've written
No.
stuff about film before,
We
but
fuck around. We're having fun here.
we're doing a
I'm not going to
podcast,
say that our opinions should matter to whether or not
No.
people like or dislike Common in any form or fashion that Common presents himself.
no, not fair.
That absolves me of guilt for saying I'm just not a Common guy at all. I don't get it in any facet. I've never gotten it. It's not for me, especially this movie, which with a strong male lead could have actually been a pretty good film. As it was fun. I would watch it again. It's a popcorn movie with very little substance needed.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who demands that a ridiculous romance story be incredible. I'm just not. I know what it is. I know what it's supposed to be. It delivered as a movie. It had a plot. People did things. End of story. That guy sucked. He never changed vocal inflection. He did nothing in the scenes. He just stood there agape at anyone who was actually acting.
As an actual music critic, like my opinions on Common, I've probably gone on the
Probably
record
more
in
nuanced
places.
than mine.
Is the case that I think for me a lot of times depends on who he's working with. You know, when he's worked with Kanye, I think he made some amazing stuff. But as an actor, I just feel like it's not his forte. And I've seen him now in like, I would probably say, being conservative, like 10 movies. I've probably seen 10 movies that he's been in. And I can't say any of them are ones where I went like, oh wow, he really impressed me there. Or
But
wow,
say what you
he
will
really
about, I
made
mean,
the
like
movie.
in the raps, I think I made this point during the show, but in the raps, he changes vocal inflection, bounces around.
Mhm,
It at least sounds like he's having a good time in the studio.
Yeah.
Then you put the camera on and he's just like, I am sportsman, a man of sports. Pretty woman, good. Me take Pretty Woman.
I understand why this director put him in the movie. They had a connection. She's a music video person.
Was he the first
What
choice? I don't even mean that derogatorily.
Oh no,
We
I did
usually pick films that didn't get their first choice.
I looked through. I didn't find anything about the film that
Okay.
could have been. But at the end of the day, it was an early part of Common's career, which now he's been in so many movies that, he is considered an actor. And I think in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
like-
It should be. I mean, you get enough roles, you're a famous actor. That's just what it is.
but I'm going to say he probably is, as of this point in the season, the worst of the rapper actors we've seen so far. Worse than LL in Rollerball.
Yes. Hit me with the list.
Yeah, I mean, we could go through the whole list.
Worse than Mos
Like-
Def, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not even a question. Be Kind, Rewind, not even a thing. Like,
Worse than Latifah, yes.
although we didn't,
Even though we haven't done a movie with her yet.
this is not considered a Latifah.
This
episode.
is not the
a
Latifah
comic.
episodes. It's
No,
comic.
we deserve to go back into other ones. Not as good as DMX in Credit for the Grave.
No.
Not as good as the RZA in Man with the Iron Fists.
Yeah, I'll agree.
I'm
I
saying
totally
not
agree.
as good as RZA in Iron Fists.
Yep.
Not as good.
He was also
as
the director, the narrator, the storyteller.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
the
in front of the camera. Yeah.
He was everything. He was cinematographer.
Yeah,
He did the soundtrack. He
did Crafty. Like
he
all
did
of
the
it.
marketing budget. He
Yeah. I think he worked in locations too.
was he in locations? Yeah.
I learned one
Get
new
him on
word
the
today.
fucking horn.
Learn one new
Get
word
locations
today.
on the horn. We learned so
Uh,
much from our wonderful guest.
Yeah, no, we
And
learned
so
a lot.
little from Common.
So little from Common. So Cool as Ice.
Cool as ice.
Cool as
It's
ice.
coming up, folks. Cool as ice coming next. Get
All right,
ready.
and Cool as Ice.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.